Good day, everyone. Hello, hello. Good to see everyone. You're up to 200 people already in less than 30 seconds. So the excitement is very palpable. Very, very palpable. Aaron, my man is here. Vijovi, everyone is here. What if I told you this interview wasn't going to be uploaded live, huh? Or wasn't going to be uploaded later on Instagram or YouTube? This was your opportunity to catch it all. What if I told you that? So, Aaron, you can hear me? Cool. So you can hear me. So you were just making sure that I'm audible as well. So okay, that's good. So the silver fox is here. So I was saying, so what if I told you that this interview is not going to be saved and it's not going to be uploaded, and so you had to catch all the action here? What if I told you that? Yeah, the Dolu. Nah, this is an open forum. This is okay. I'm not going to get upset at anybody interrupting. This is not a lecture, so it's all good. So I'm not going to get upset. So another couple of minutes. Let's talk a little bit about the guest we're having today. I haven't done one of these for quite a while, almost 6 months, if not longer. I think the number of followers that my guest today has doesn't do justice to his popularity and notoriety, for the lack of a better word. So I think it's he's definitely lot more. He definitely has a lot more to him than what his 1,800 or 2,000 followers do justice to him. So, and Aman and I, we go back a long way. I've known Aman for nearly 5 years, if not more, and I think people who've been in the industry for quite a while, they all know him for all sorts of reasons. The man is not shy to speak his mind. Man is certainly not shy to tell it as it is. And a lot of times he whether you like it or not, he's quite right. So so I'm going to see if he's here. So if he's already here, then I'm going to sort of bring him on board, and and then we can hear from the horse's mouth. So let man who doesn't need any introduction bring him on live. So I've sent him a request, and so what's going on? So let me see how this thing works. Let's just go. Okay. Yeah, there's a bit of a network issue. Hopefully, he should be able to. So look, while we are here, I can fill you in a little bit about the Siddhant story. It's nothing personal, It's not the first time I've called somebody out for putting out false information. It's pretty straightforward. He shared misleading information, and somebody who holds has, I don't know how many followers he has, 200,000 or 300,000 followers or whatever he has. For somebody to be putting out wrong information, it's you're going to get called out. So as I said, it's nothing personal. It's not the first time I've called people out. So it's just quite it's pretty simple. So that's just about it. So he shared something that wasn't correct, and I simply called him out, and it's just as simple as that. So I'm not sure why I'm not able to add Aman. So that's pretty much basically. There's no real controversy. It's as simple as that. So and that's it. I mean, there's nothing else to it. And people are entitled to their opinions, but when you're talking about things of where, see, the fact is, people getting upset about the fact that it's disrespecting the athlete. It's actually not disrespecting the athlete. It's pretty simple. You are promoting something, and you are getting paid for it, and then and if that information is wrong, then you need to get pulled up. So it's like, say, if people are going and spending money to learn that if that information is wrong, then why should somebody have to put up with it?
Sir, how's it going? How are you, sir?
Here he is. I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you crystal clear. I can hear you perfectly well. So good to
Excellent.
see you.
It's good to see you too.
This has been, you wouldn't believe the number of people who have actually messaged me or messaged you or commented on your post and commented on my post. Why don't you debate Aman, and why don't you have a chat with him? Why don't you go live with him? And I always find it very amusing. I think people don't know the background of when I was just telling everybody that we've known each other for nearly 5 years, if not more. So
Right.
we've known each other for 5 years, and it's there's a lot of it behind the scenes. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let's get stuck into it. First of all, look, what I want to ask you is, say, if I went to school with you, okay?
Yeah.
Let's say if I went to school with you, and what was Aman Duggal like in, say, class 4 or 5?
I was a stupid nerd. That's who I was. So I come from, and excuse my language, I don't mean to be disrespectful here.
You can be yourself. You can say whatever you want.
So I come from a family of doctors and officers, and from day one, it's been entrenched in us that we have to study, and we have to study hard because we need to come first in class. So when I was in the 4th standard, my only goal in life was to come first in class. That's about it. And it stayed that way till I reached class 5. And then I realized that, if I just focus on coming first in class, it's not going to cut it, because I was in an all-boys school, a pretty hardcore school. And I started getting a little bullied around class 5. I lasted for quite a long time, whole of class 5, 6, 7, 8. I was like, man, if I just focused on study, I won't be able to protect myself. There are other skills which I have to work on as well. So from class 8 onwards, I started focusing on sport, making friends, socializing a little bit. But yeah, up till class 8, there was only one goal in my life, which was to come first in class. That's it.
Okay. Now, my question is, obviously, you're a very confident person. You're not short on confidence. So my question is this something that you discovered later in life, or was it to sort of a coping mechanism against bullying, or is that something that was part of your personality from childhood?
It's been a work in progress, sir. And I would say there have been highs and lows. Okay, there have been periods in my life, going all the way back to school, when I was incredibly underconfident. And some good things happened. I achieved a few things and my confidence rose. And then I saw a dip back when I was scoring really well in school. I was coming first in class. I was always in the top 3 in class, but I was getting heckled in school. So that was taking a jab at my confidence. So there was a dip. Then there was a spike again when I got exposed to sports. I started doing well in sports. So there was a peak in confidence again. So it's been fluctuating. It's not something wherein I would say that I've always been a confident person. Last year I wasn't confident. 2020 was an incredibly difficult year for me. Very difficult year. I've spoken about it openly. Perhaps the most underconfident I've ever felt in my entire life was 2020. But things got better, and here we are now.
Right. Okay. So look, is there anything that you want to sort of take a couple of minutes to say something, or you want to share something with the world? The stage is yours, and then we can get into it.
Thank you so much, sir. There's nothing much which I'd like to say. I've been, unfortunately, sir, there's a confession I'd like to make. When I was first exposed to your work, I was exposed to someone who didn't really like you for some reason. And he, over the phone, told me about you. So my lens was colored as soon as I heard the name Harry Sandhu, which is why back in the day we had our like little back and forth. And for that, I owe you an apology. I do because um, I have said this in the private messages as well, but I would like to state it publicly. I was in the wrong when I was calling you out all those years ago. There were silly. I was just nitpicking unnecessarily, and it was because someone planted the seed in my head that you should go after this gentleman, and I didn't know any better. Over the years, though, as I've gotten to know you better and I've studied your work, to this very day, people are like, why don't you debate Harry Sandhu? Why aren't you calling him out? You're calling out all these other people. I'm like, I have no business calling out Harry Sandhu. I have no business calling out that man because I look up to him. It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. Because when I got to know Harry Sandhu for the man that he is, I was like, man, there are so many qualities which Harry Sandhu has, which I can truly learn from. And I look up to you for many reasons, though. And of course, there will always be a little academic back and forth. You have your own methods, I have my own. That's fine. That's not what life is. Yeah, that's not what life is about. But things which really help you when you're in the pits, qualities which you can truly rely on, Harry Sandhu can teach you those qualities, which a lot of evidence-based professionals cannot. And for that, I'm grateful to be exposed to your work, sir. People speak very highly about you. And today, I know why they speak highly about you.
No, I appreciate it. Let me ask you a bit of a personal question.
Yeah.
What's Aman Duggal's status of girlfriend, no girlfriend? What's the story?
All right. So here's another thing which I wanted to start with. I owe an apology to my partner. Okay. I am incredibly fortunate, sir. I have a very strong support system. I have a beautiful family. I have a beautiful partner. And I'm a difficult person to be with, okay? Because I can be a little emotionally detached because I've got all these other things going on sometimes. And that's unfair. It's okay if I'm a little, I'm emotionally blunt towards other people on social media, but not to my own family, not to the people I care about. And of late, I have not been as available for my loved ones. So I'd like to apologize to my partner. Perhaps she's watching. Perhaps she'll catch the recording. She's incredibly supportive. So I've learned a lot from her, and I'll go so far as to say, being with her has changed my life for the better. So yes, there are highs and lows in our relationship, but she's a beautiful person.
Sure, I'm glad to hear. Look, we all have our moments, but just as long as you come around and appreciate the other person for what they are. Okay, let me ask you a question. Let's just jump right into it, and let's get the masala stuff, get it out of the way, and then we can get a bit of intellectual stuff. You obviously have a relationship going back with Mr. Kazad Kapadia a long way back. And what I want to know is that there's a picture of you where you're a young guy and Kazad sir is in the middle, standing in the middle. And obviously that sort of, shows that at one point in time you obviously were in, I'm not sure, at least in half decent acquaintance level. I wouldn't go as far as saying friends, at least very respectable communication levels. So, and then eventually down the track, I remember you calling him out something about the bench press, the squat rack bar thing, will you move it from one? So I vaguely remember that. And that happened, and then other things. So how did that change? How did that come about? What made you sort of call him out? Or because at one point in time, obviously you were on very friendly terms, and then, so what happened? Was it like simply, okay, this is wrong and I'm going to call him out, or
No,
something
no.
actually happened behind the scenes?
Oh, no, no. It's never about something that is wrong, which, see, I can disagree with everyone at an academic level. That doesn't mean I'm going to call them out.
Sure.
What happened was, back in the day, I started writing a blog. And a young man by the name of Sunit Sebastian came across my blog. He liked what I had to share on my blog, and he's like, Aman, I'd love for you to work with me. I'm like, sure, what's in it for me? He's like, if we strike a good working relationship together, I'll pay you 15,000 rupees a month. So I'm like, okay, what's the catch here? What do I have to do? He's like, you can help me with my content, and you can help me promote my YouTube channel. I'm like, sure, no problem, I can write. And this was back in college. I believe this was first year of engineering. And for me to make 15,000 rupees a month as a student, I was like, please sign me up right away. And it began. And Kaizad was Sunit's mentor. And if anyone's familiar with Sunit's work, it's basically Kaizad Kapadia's work, word for word. And that's fine. He occasionally gives the man credit, but not as much as I feel he should. He should basically mention Kaizad Kapadia's name in every single video, because it's basically just Kaizad's work. And that's okay. That's fine. That's not where the problem lies. My problem began when months passed. I took this man from 800 subscribers to 5,000, and he kept growing. And 3 months passed, and I'm like, where's my payment, buddy? He's like, come on, man, we have this, we are close, we got a good friendship going and everything. I'm like, that's okay. I get it, okay? There's a good friendship going. You've introduced me to Kaizad Kapadia. He's like, Kaizad's really good and everything, you know. And as a first year engineering student, you expose me to a little anatomy and kinesiology, and I'm happy, right? I'm like, oh, wow, this is cool. This is science. So I was pretty thrilled about getting to learn some new stuff. But I wasn't receiving my payments. I'm like, listen, you need to pay me, buddy. He's like, listen, buddy, I can't pay you 15K. Let's do 5K instead. I'm like, 5,000 for this quality of work? Sorry, I'm done. And I was out. And then I kind of held a little grudge against him. And I started becoming a little more skeptical of Kaizad just because I had that little grudge against Sunit. Now, this is not where my problem with Kaizad started. My problem began when I transitioned to a vegan lifestyle. I became vegan for ethical reasons. And all I would get when I transitioned, so I'd help people with their nutrition a little bit. Okay, I'd be like, okay, this is what you can do. These are supplements you can take. And that was the time when Kaizad was publishing article upon article saying, there's no life for vegans. Okay, you guys can bounce. You guys can't do anything. And people would point me to his article. They'd be like, the #1 fitness authority in India says there's no life for vegans. What are you talking about? You're just a kid. I'm like, cool. If you think I'm a kid, I'll do my research on this guy. So I got his textbooks. I'm like, okay, let me just critically evaluate this. Okay, let me see if I can find something. And then one fine day, Vivek and me were watching the New Life Kaizad Kapadia series where he was talking about the squat, bench press, and deadlift. And he did this bench press experiment, and Vivek and me looked at each other and we were like, wait a minute, did he just do that? And I'm like, yes, he just did that. And we've got material here, buddy. And why not? See, I was a nobody back in the day, okay? 2015, I was a nobody, and I was like, man, this is gold right here, okay? Who cares, okay? Who cares if people support the vegan lifestyle or not? I am putting this out there because this is going to put me on the map, okay? Because Kaizad's the god of biomechanics, right? Well, buddy, you just made a very simple physics blunder here. So you have to explain this now. And that's cool. I made it a little provocative. I added some bells and whistles there. and it caught fire. And all of a sudden, from being an absolute nobody, within 5 minutes, people were like, "Who's this Aman and who's Vivek and what's this Al project about?" I'm like, "Cool, man. You guys might think that my methods are shady. It's getting me attention, and people are talking about me. That's what matters."
So look, so what was the fallout from that? So did you get any rebuttal from Kazad sir or his team? Did anybody come after you? Did anybody message you, reach out to you? What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why don't you take it down? Any legal threats or any threats otherwise? What was the fallout from that?
The fallout was a lot of the K11 faculty, a lot of K11 teachers and students reached out. And they're like, "Can you help explain what you just did there?" Because see, we did some very simple torque calculations, but I understand that not everyone is familiar with free body diagrams and basic torque calculations. I've studied that in engineering mechanics back in college, but not everyone has, and that's fine.
I'm familiar with that video. Even though it's a very old video, it was like 4 or 5 years old. I remember watching it back then, so I vaguely remember what you talk about. So I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
But as I said, like, so did Kazad sir himself ever reach out to you, or just his team?
No, it was definitely brought to his attention because a couple of K11 teachers reached out to me and said, "Listen, he's seen the video. Okay, he knows it's here. And he's not going to pay attention to this. Okay, he's going to let this sweep under the rug," which is incredibly smart. Why would you want to give someone like me attention? Okay, just let it pass. Okay, I'll get some cheap popularity out of it. Okay, my follower count will bump up a little bit. There'll be a little controversy, but life will move on. Okay, and there's no way he can actually rebut that because this is a mechanics blunder. Okay, you cannot. There are some.
It's not an opinion. It's not about an opinion. It's objective. It's factual. It's not about an opinion. It's not subjective.
Exactly. So he got into a little trouble there. So he let it pass, and I interacted back and forth with some of the K11 teachers who are incredibly respectful, by the way. I didn't have no one verbally abused me or anything of that sort. They're like, "Okay, man, we see what you did there, but you are a little disrespectful. You didn't have to do that. You could have presented it in a more noble way." I'm like, "Man, it is what it is. Okay, now take it or leave it." So that happened. But I'll tell you the best part that happened out of it. Jitendra Choksi decided to make a comment under that post. And I didn't know who Jitendra Choksi was.
Well, this was sort of a nice segue because that's what was where I was going to go eventually. But well, that works out perfectly. That's a nice little segue. Okay, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so I didn't know who Jitendra Choksi was. See, I was new in the industry. I knew Kaizad Kapadia and a few of our evidence-based heroes in the United States. That's it. I was fresh, new. I knew no one. And all of a sudden, this guy, Jitendra Choksi, he drops a comment and he's like, "You got your physics wrong. Go and revise your physics. You guys don't know anything. Stop making these stupid videos and go lift some weights and things like that." The video is there. You can watch it. He keeps taking it.
I remember the crux of it. I don't remember the finer details, but I remember it quite well.
Yeah. So that happens, and I'm like, "Okay, if you have a problem." So we have this little back and forth in the comments, and Vivek took a lot of time to actually scribble some more calculations, which would clarify our calculations for him. But he was like, "Oh, you guys are haters and this and that." I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing, man? Pick up the phone and send me your phone number. I'll call you and I'll sort this out." Okay. If you truly have a problem with our calculations, let's talk about it. Let's speak on the phone about it, because this comments back and forth sometimes, things get messy unnecessarily. So that's what happened. We got on call together, and somewhere I think around the 10-minute mark, I decided it would be a good time to start recording the call. So we started recording the call, and Vivek started asking him questions. I started asking him questions. Pretty soon we realized this guy has no idea, fundamentally, He doesn't even know what force is. He doesn't know what torque is, and he wants to challenge our torque calculations. Then just casually, okay, it's like a little, you just throw a dart in the air just like that. Vivek is like, Jitendra, okay, I know you're kind of struggling to understand what I just told you. Uh, what's the direction of gravitational force here? And this guy starts scratching his head. And I'm like, wait. So initially I was like, okay, this guy's influential. Okay. When I went, I saw his profile. I was like, okay, good physique. People follow him, lots of likes, lots of friends, and everything. So maybe we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he has something to bring to the table. But as soon as he started scratching his head when we asked him the direction of gravity, we were like, man, we're working with a dummy here. And yeah, he kind of admitted that he got things wrong. But then he wanted to challenge some other things which I published on my website. And he did that. He did that. Then he disconnected the phone. He's like, hey, you should speak to me one-on-one, man, not over the phone. I'm like, sure, let's catch up tomorrow. I invited him over for lunch the following day. He's like, oh, but I don't meet people just like that. I'm like, man, decide, okay, do you want to meet me? Do you not want to meet me? So that happened, and this issue passed till 1 month later. He actually apologized to me. I won't say I won't say publicly, but on his squats group, he apologized. He said that, okay, I had this interaction with these boys. I thought they were in the wrong, but I got a few things wrong. And I was like, wow, that's pretty big of you, buddy. And that was the initial interaction which I had with him.
My question is, okay, so I mean, I'm obviously privy to this. There's one particular move that he made, which I thought was extremely risky, that could have potentially landed him in legal trouble as well, and probably still could actually. That where he tried to plant a very hideous plan against Kazad sir, and he wanted to use your religious angle and say implicate him in some things and bring him down. And it was that is serious business. That is, you can't just, it's not like, you know, he's an a-hole or he's this, but it's like actually talking and saying, let's just use this religious angle, let's bring this guy down. We can do, I mean, that's pretty huge. And how did that come about?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what happened, okay? So right away, okay, I was young, but I was like, okay, he's apologized. What does he want? Okay, why would he want to apologize? He wants something, right? So, and lo and behold, a day later, less than 24 hours later, he sends me a private message. I remember very clearly what he said. He's like, you are right, ... Let's bring these a-holes down. And the screenshots are there on the video and everything.
Yeah, I've seen them all. And that's why I asked.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool, buddy, but I think you missed the point, okay? My goal here is not to bring people down. My goal here is to reach the top, okay? And if I can, you know, wiggle my way to the top, if I can use my ability to speak or my ability to heckle a few people to reach the top, I will do that. This has nothing about bringing people down. I feel no emotion for this industry. I don't owe this industry anything. Okay, this is. I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this to bring them down. But he missed the point.
And sorry to interrupt. I mean, I find that is almost like criminal and unethical. That's very immoral. I mean, you want to work your way to the top, but you want to do it like ethically, and you don't want to be effing people over and shafting people along the way and just doing immoral things and unnecessarily bring them. So, I mean, anyway, you continue, please.
Yeah, we can touch on that, but yeah, coming back to this issue. So I'm like, oh, all right. He's like, okay, I have a few business ideas which I'd like to discuss with you. Cool, man. You got my number. Let's speak on the phone. He calls me on the phone. I have these recordings to this very day. I've uploaded all the recordings in their entirety. There was a time when he said that, oh, you just uploaded a few snippets. I'm like, here you go, buddy. Here are all the recordings. I think a good 5-6 hours we spoke. I uploaded everything. And then he reported and took that down as well. So this is how he started. He didn't start with Kaizad Kapadia. And you remember the time I mentioned that I got to know about Harry Sandhu from a person who didn't really like you? This is exactly how he started. He's like, I'm also pissed off, man. And recently, this guy who goes by the name Harry Sandhu, he pissed me off. That's literally within the first 30 seconds, he took your name and he's like, Harry Sandhu pissed me off. I know you're pissed off with Kaizad Kapadia. We are on the same team, buddy. Let's get together and bring these people down. So I'm like, dude, come on, man. That's so childish, man. Okay, at least offer me some respect, okay? If you want to do business with me, I'm not going to do business with you like this, okay? If you think you can bait me into a business partnership with you, come on, man. Let's talk money first. Let's talk business first. What's in it for us? Stop crying and complaining about this industry. This is how this industry is. This is how this industry will always be. Come on. Let's get to business. And then we did discuss business. He was willing to offer me a bucket load of money. He's like, we'll become partners in squats. He offered me a partnership. He's like, we'll become partners. Okay, you will lead the academy, so you will handle everything education related. So what he has, the INFS, which he has today. He's like, I want you to be the guy. You and your team, you come, let's take charge of this industry. Then I've got ketosis where we do these seminars and we'll publish books together or throw this together, that together. We have so much money which we can make and we can really just, take it away. We'll be tying up with this celebrity, that celebrity. We'll call this PhD, that PhD. I'm like, cool, man, but we won't get along. I knew from the very first day, him and I won't get along because see, I get it, okay? Money is important. But you can only lure someone with money who really needs the money. And I've stated this publicly. I come from a privileged background. And I'm incredibly thankful to my family for setting the platform which they've provided me. The reality is there are people who are privileged and there are people who are not as privileged. So I never needed the money. I was like, man, you're talking to someone who was born with more money than you will ever make. What money can you offer me? It's a reality, okay? I don't intend to say this to show off. It's just a reality because it doesn't do me any favors to say this. It doesn't do me any favors because people can look at me and they'll just say, oh, he can afford the best education. He can afford a good life because his parents are rich or his family is rich and his family is wealthy and powerful. Yeah, it's a reality. It's a reality. I was born in a family of doctors and officers and I never needed the money. To this very day, I don't need the money. But I do it because I want to do it for myself, for my own self-worth. So I'm like, if you are going to try and lure me with money and celebrities and all of that, that's not going to work, okay? We all want to make some money. We all want to feel like, okay, we are in charge of our lives, but not this way, buddy. And so I wrote him an email. I said, we are not going ahead, okay, with this. I think we should first establish kind of an online working relationship. Let me join your squats group, see what we can do over there, polish things up a little bit because back in the day, he was all about keto and everything. And he's admitting to me, he's telling me that I'm wrong about so many things. But I don't care, man. I just want to leave my IT job and I want to get into this industry because I want to make money. I'm like, cool, man. You want to make money? Good. But not at my expense. I'm not going to start promoting ketogenic diets or whatever detox diets which they were promoting back in the day. And today they think they've polished things up, which they haven't. I've just shown very recently, I called out Menno Henselmans and Mike Israel. I was like, really, this is how you think you're going to polish up this industry? Your evidence-based gurus are weak. Who are you calling to India? So yeah, that's what happened. And I said no, very respectfully in an email. I said no, this is not how it's going to work. And that was it. I didn't expect him to respond to the email, but 1 month later, this guy completely lost it out of the blue. Verbal abuse after verbal abuse, maa behen ki galiyan, and like you rightly identified, he decided to take a jab at my religion, Sikhism. And he's like, let me speak about your turban. Let's compare your turban to a placebo. And I'm like, man, firstly, that's so stupid. Okay, because I said a little something about homeopathy. He saw that article and he's like, oh, if you're going to call homeopathy a placebo, I'll call your turban a placebo. I'm like, man, firstly, that's incredibly stupid. And secondly, do you know what you have just said, buddy? Do you have, even for someone like me who does not strongly identify with the religion, I'm like, man, the day I want to use this against you, it'll be really bad for you. So, terrible, very childish. And yeah, I'm like, listen, I'll give you one opportunity to apologize to me. He's like, I'm not going to do that. Do whatever you want to do. I'm like, cool. I'll do what I want to do. So I made that video. I took his recordings, narrated the entire story from start to finish. And yeah, it's been going on ever since. In the middle, we kind of, I kind of took off from social media, but then I came back, and then he can't let it go. His biggest problem is he should learn something from Kaizad Kapadia. When an attention seeker like me, okay, went after Kaizad Kapadia kept quiet and let it go. Learn something from Kaizad. Okay. You are literally giving me attention. I didn't even know who you are, and you just can't let it go, buddy, to this very day. And then he showed up now a few months ago to debate me, because now he thinks that, oh, I've accumulated all this wealth and I've got this company. So now maybe I'm in a position to debate Aman Duggal, and we saw what happened. So yeah.
Yeah, how did he challenge Zomato or something? Did he say that Zomato had no business to get in supplements or something?
It's so funny. So I had COVID around March. Okay, I was a pretty traumatic time for me because I was going through a breakup. I had COVID, and then my friend calls me and he's like, oh, your ex is seeing someone else now. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear all of that. So I have this spinning TV, which I bought when I had COVID. And the only reason I bought that spinning TV was I told him, bhai, mera dimag ghum gaya hai, so I need a TV which spins. so
pretty sound logic, you know. Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, and literally that TV, it saved me because it saved me because I saw funny movies, and I would just sit in front of that TV, isolate myself, no, not a soul around me. I'm like, okay, but there's only so much I can do, right? How many movies will I see? And then one fine day I get a call. I'm like, hello, who's this? They're like, yeah, there's something which might interest you. I'm like, okay, send it over. So I get a WhatsApp message. I get a LinkedIn link. And I'm not on LinkedIn. I'm not on many social media platforms. I'm not on Twitter or anything. And I open the link. And immediately I put two and two together. I'm like, oh, okay, you guys want me to take care of this. No problem. And that's how it began. So what he had done was, I have shared these screenshots. He challenged Zomato to a public, these are his words, to a public scientific debate. Why? Because Deependra Goyal launched his line of supplements. And he very explicitly said that 95% of these supplements are a scam. And I'm like, 95% of all of these supplements, like this entire supplement line, are you sure about that? Where do you get that number from, buddy? So and he's like, I'm willing to debate, have a public scientific debate with Team Zomato. I'm like, cool. I put two and two together. I know, I understood they wanted me to take this up for them. I'm like, cool. Here's Team Zomato, just one team member. Debate me. And then he blocked me. He blocked me, and I poked a little fun at him. I'm like, hey, you wanted a debate. What happened, buddy? You have a debate now. And then months passed. And then finally, one day, I'll tell you why he accepted the debate also. Finally, one day, when he thought I wouldn't be able to make it, because I was caught up with a lot of other things, he very slyly accepted the debate challenge. Very slyly. And he sent me this Zoom link, which I just happened to find in my inbox. I clicked on it, and I was ready. And he showed up 15 minutes late for that. And I know for a fact, because as soon as he came online and he saw me, and this was a debate without an audience. Come on, what sort of a debate is that? He could have at least announced that, okay, this is a Zoom link. Everyone can join this link. No, he didn't do that. I'm like, cool, you don't want to invite people? I have my other phone. I'll record it from here. And I went live on Instagram from my other phone. So yeah, that's what happened. That's how that debate came about.
So can you please enlighten our audience? What's the difference between enhanced and whatever the other word is? Is there like a significant difference between the two? I'm confused. You know. So what's enhanced and what's the other word?
Boost. Oh man, this is so funny. Okay, so he very quickly realized that things are going south. Okay, he'd make claim after claim, and he didn't even know that Examine.com, who he refers to, has an immunity boosting stat guide. Okay,
boosting and enhanced. So what's the difference between boosting and enhanced? I'm confused. I thought they were fundamentally the same thing.
Even I'm confused. Apparently, he's the only person who understands the difference between boosting and enhanced. For everyone else, they're synonymous. But he knows the difference. He's so enlightened.
Anyway, okay. So when that is that. So where are you guys at now? So where does your this conflict stand now? So what's the situation? Is it status quo, stalemate, or there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know? Something's coming up. So where is it at now?
See, I have no conflict with anyone. Okay, I am in this business for myself and for my money. Simple. It's as simple as that. Okay, and I recognize a money-making opportunity here. This guy, when he got cornered in this whole boosting versus enhanced situation, when he realized that WHO can't save him, Examine.com can't save him, when he realized that this debate is going south, what he should have done was he should have just exited. He should have just, because no one was watching, right? And he had no idea I was recording it. Okay, so he could have just took off. But no, what he wanted to do was he wanted to touch on my depression, which I've publicly spoken about. I was incredibly, severely depressed in 2020. I sought treatment for it, and I'm incredibly fortunate. Yeah, I'm incredibly fortunate to seek treatment for my depression. My psychiatrist took good care of me, and we tapered off the drugs successfully. And I'm incredibly grateful for the treatment. He felt it would be a good place to bring that up, and he did. That's fine, no problem. But then he said that I was admitted in a mental asylum. Okay, cool. Which mental asylum, buddy? So, and then out of the blue, he accuses me of domestic violence. He's like, oh, you beat up your ex-girlfriend. I'm like, yeah.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, I beat up my ex-girlfriend. Which ex-girlfriend? Name her. Who told you that? Okay. Then he's like, oh, Sarah told me that, Vivek told me that. I'm like, call them. Go ahead, call them. And See, sir, um, you can say a lot of things on social media. One of the biggest problems of social media, kids on social media who haven't stepped outside social media, they do not understand the consequences of saying something like this in real life. Okay. His whole agenda with bringing this up was to throw me off guard and maybe make me stutter a little or maybe surprise me with what he had to say. You can't do that because my psychiatrist took very good care of me. Everything which I had to discuss with regards to my depression, I made peace with it. Okay. I made peace with it. So if you want to bring that up, okay, which is incredibly low, by the way.
Yeah, that's below the belt.
Yeah, no problem. You can bring it up. But if you want to make stories about me, you have to support those stories with evidence. And people think I can be pretty ruthless. I've been incredibly charitable to him, very charitable. A lot of people reached out to me because a lot of people I work with today, they are in a position of influence. They run cities and states and they run our country. And they are like, Aman, what do you want to do? And it will be done. I'm like, nothing. Let me just take care of this myself. The right way, the legal way, because I'm not the only person who suffered from depression and anxiety. Some of the people who are at these positions, incredibly stressful positions, they are all on anti-anxiety and anti-depression medication because they need it. It's life at their position is incredibly stressful. And they saw what Jitendra Choksi had to say. And it really upset them. And I'm like, listen, the man has a wife and a kid and he said that in haste. Let it pass. Let me take care of it. Let me take care of it. We will do this the noble way. People say a lot of things, okay, and they'll say a lot of stupid things. That does not mean that you act in haste or you let emotion take over. You act impulsively. I've seen too much of that in my time, and it doesn't get anyone anywhere. So the current status is the man owes me 5 crore rupees in July. Simple. It's straightforward. He owes me 5 crore rupees in July. He's got the month of July to pay me 5 crores. If July passes, August comes along, it's 6 crores. If August passes, September comes along, it's 7 crores. You bloody well pay me that money. Okay. And then I may consider letting it pass. But that is where
I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you there. How does he owe you 5 crore? I'm just curious. How?
Because I demand it. That's why. Simple.
Like demanded. Let me play the devil's advocate here for one moment. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm trying to use the right word because I like to choose my words very carefully. It's like, okay, so when you say you demand it, okay, then I'm going to put you on the spot here. So
no problem.
So when you're asking somebody, when you're demanding anything, that comes under few categories. Okay, it could be extortion, it could be ransom, it could be debt, it could be contractual breaking. It's so under what you say extortion would be illegal, something, ransom is something that you hold a certain piece of information or something against him that to protect that he would have to shell out 5 crore to save himself. Otherwise, my question is, why would he pay you 5 crores if you don't have something solid enough against him that forces him to shell that money out? That's my question. That's everybody would want to know. Problem.
Of course, that's a very good question. No, this is not about ransom. This is about power. I'm in a powerful position today. You made up stories about me, right? I'll tell you how I calculated 5 crores. It's 5 crores because it's July. Okay, in June it was 4 crores. I'll tell you exactly how I calculated 4 crores because I made this demand publicly. Okay, he has to compensate me for all these years of storytelling, wasting my time, I'll tell you exactly how I calculated 4 crores.
No, that's okay.
Um,
That's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that how you can. But my
no,
question is, let's say hypothetically speaking, he refuses to pay. Then what's the possible? What's the repercussion? What's the fallout from that? He says, "Nah, f you. I am not paying you a cent." What happens then?
well, then he will have to dance in court with me. There are some realities, sir. There are some realities, okay? I have a very strong legal team. All I have to tell them is to pull the trigger and it's done. Okay? And I'm a bachelor. I have all the time in the world to dance in court with him. And you think I'm going to sue him once? I'll sue him 5 times for all the harassment from 2015. There is no escape. This is a reality. And I'm being incredibly generous when I say 5 crores. That is little money for what he said. If you're going to accuse me of domestic violence, if you're going to say that I was admitted in a mental asylum, if you're going to take a jab at my turban, okay, get ready, okay? And it may not stop at this. This is compensation, okay? It's monetary compensation, as simple as that.
So essentially, you're asking for. So let me just actually phrase it. So essentially, what you're doing is you're actually suing him for potential defamation, potential, mental stress, anxiety, loss of business, loss of money, all those things. Okay, so do you think he's going to pay or he's going to play hardball? Do you think he's going to come to the party? Do you think
I
he
don't
will
care.
pay?
I don't care what he does. I will do what I want.
Has he said anything? Has he given any answer to your demands, or he's like quiet, or any correspondence between you two? What's the story?
Here's the funniest thing about this entire situation. He is publicly stating that he's going to sue me. He said that he's going to sue Aman Bindra. He said he's going to sue Melvin. He said he's going to sue Gurpreet. Where are those legal notices, buddy? Where? Okay. He said that he feels like he's the victim here. Okay. So yeah, here's the reality. And it's not the first time he's tried to play this guy. I actually have a legal notice from Jitendra Choksi from 2017, I believe. He sent a legal notice. My lawyers responded to it. Guess what happened? Nothing. These are empty threats, sir. Okay? He can make empty threats. But the day I decide to pull the trigger is the day he will dance. And I will make him dance. I will make his company dance. You can mark my words.
Do you realize this probably would be the biggest news to come out of the come into the fitness industry in the last since the Sahil Khan and Manish Gandhi Sheru Angrish fiasco. So I think this would be arguably the biggest news. Like, I mean, if they had to be a headline, it would be Aman Duggal demanding 5 crore from Jitendra Choksi. That would be the headline. You realize, like, I mean, it's pretty big, to state that.
It's not. It's a small compensation for a pretty stupid claim.
Sure, it is. But nonetheless, the news is still massive. I mean, it might be very small. It might be. I'm not sure what he's worth, what his business is worth. I haven't had an interaction with the guy for 5 years. Maybe he's worth 100 crores or 500 crores, or maybe he's worth 5 crores. God knows. I'm not sure. But the news in itself, it's a headline. It's a headline grab. Like, Aman Duggal is going to sue Jitendra Choksi for 5 crore. And if this doesn't happen, JC or whatever his nickname is in trouble. That's pretty massive.
Yes, that is massive. You can, if anyone in the media is watching this right now, take it. And if this doesn't become good news, if this doesn't become big news, I will ensure it becomes big news. I will get the top media companies to make sure that every second of this trial is documented. Just like we're doing this live session right now.
Sure, sorry to interrupt again.
No problem.
Have you been approached by any ex or current employees of him implicating or sharing some of the stuff that would potentially could get him in further trouble? Have you had anything like that come against him?
This is some people who know me will always know that I put my cards on the table, but I never put all my cards on the table. There is some serious gossip and allegation.
Listen, let me stop you. I don't want you to name any names. I don't want you to reveal any names.
I will
Okay,
not. I will not.
sure.
I wasn't planning to. These people will remain anonymous. They have shared
Yeah, I mean,
information.
and that's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am in, and
But
so
you've
when
had people approach me. You've had people approach you having information against him or implicating him or whatever it is.
I've had advocates approach me, they're like, "Give us this case, buddy. Why aren't you pulling the trigger? Just give it to me. Okay, I won't
No,
charge
no,
you a dime."
I'm talking specifically about his
Yeah.
employees or his
Yes.
partners coming to you. Okay, that's pretty big.
His employees, his current coaches follow me. Go check out my follower count. Now it's going to drop by a
Yeah,
bit because
that I know.
yeah.
That I know. When that following somebody is one thing, but bringing a solid piece of evidence against someone is
Oh,
something completely different.
it's all the time. And I brought it to his attention also. I'm like, listen, buddy, the people you pay are in my DMs today, poking fun at you. That guy has no respect. The people he pays do not respect him. I'm like, what are you trying to do, man, in this industry? How long are you going to play this cognitive dissonance card? How long will you live in self-deceit? Your own people do not respect you. Coach after coach is leaving that company. And the only people who are kind of, with him right now, even they don't have great things to say about him.
So can we expect some fireworks in August, September? Is that what you were saying? There's going to be some fireworks if he doesn't come to the party?
There will be.
Okay. Well, that's pretty massive. So anyway, enough about him. So let's move on from him. So what is Aman Duggal's day like? I mean, what do you actually? I know you're into coaching, you're doing different things and all that. But what I want to know is like, what's your core area of work or business or whatever? I know you do some guest lectures also. You do consultation work as well. So what's your sort of your main thing that you're currently working on and that's keeping you occupied?
Right. For me, for the largest time, it's been three jobs, okay, or three roles which I play. One is as a coach, where I help people with their nutrition and exercise. One is as a teacher, a tutor. So either I'll be lecturing at an institute, an organization, or someone will invite me to perhaps author a chapter in a textbook.
What's your formal qualification? I mean, are you postgraduate, graduate? Are you pursuing higher studies? Where you're at with your education?
I have a BTech in instrumentation and control. That's the extent of my formal education.
Sure. Right. Okay. Where fitness is only just your knowledge of fitness is purely out of your own self-education, essentially.
I would not say that. I have pursued many certifications. I don't put them out there because I don't endorse them. Okay, I never wanted. Yeah, I never wanted to be that. Oh, Aman Duggal has this certification, and that's why he has this knowledge. I have all the certifications in the world. In fact, I was the first.
I'm sure your knowledge is not from certifications. I'm across all the certifications. We see 20 certifications every day. And I see what the certifications are, but I'm across all the certifications. So I'm pretty confident that your knowledge is not from those certifications. You've done it just to see what the fuss was all about, essentially. Okay. So what's the big project? Is Alpha Raj making a comeback under a different name, or is Alpha Raj coming under Alpha Raj? Was that a partnership, or was it a sole Aman Duggal venture? Where's Alpha Raj at the moment?
Alpha Raj was always my company. I was always the sole proprietor, and I have people helping me. Okay. Now, just like with any other company, people come, people go. Okay. I've had some good relationships with people. Okay. Unfortunately, those relationships, some of them did not materialize. There were some disagreements, some petty, some significant. And that's life. Okay. People come and they go. The reality is, the only reason I chose the name Alpha Raj was because I wasn't very confident putting myself out there. I was like, okay, I'm a little new in this industry. Maybe I can hide behind a company. But Alpha Raj was always Aman Duggal. I pulled all.
No doubt.
Yeah, I pulled all the. Yeah.
Is Alpha Raj making a comeback, or no? It's under a new name. What's the story? Where can people find you?
Alfraj has officially been rebranded to Aman Duggal.
Okay,
And
fair enough. Fair
yeah,
enough. Yeah. Okay. So let me delve a little bit into it. So let's sort of share some knowledge with people about obviously the current great debate is between, we'll forget the keto thing, and I think you can actually impart some knowledge. But I remember you wrote a really good article on veganism for, I'm not sure, I think Alan or maybe somebody, and
yeah,
it was quite a comprehensive article.
yeah.
So what are the common pitfalls? Like, what are the challenges for a vegan? Like, if somebody wants to pursue a vegetarian or a vegan diet, what are some of the key things? Especially the thing is, let me preface that question with, see, to save everyone time. Now, in order for a vegetarian or a vegan diet to become wholesome and very healthy, we need to rely on supplements to an extent, right?
Yeah.
To meet certain shortcomings. Now, my question is, what would, if somebody is on a budget? Okay, somebody is on a budget, doesn't have all the money to spend on all the supplements. What would be your advice to somebody like that?
All right. So see, some supplements are they're reasonable. Okay, if you want to get a B12 or a D supplement in India, it's not that expensive. However, there is a reality here. Okay, if someone wants to become a bodybuilder, they would be hard pressed to find a source of protein as cost effective as, let's say, eggs. Okay, that's a reality. Okay, and you can perhaps try to get some pea protein, some vegan sources of protein. But if that starts impacting your life and your budget, then my advice is simple: consume the least amount of animal products you need to respect your budget. And when you have more in the way of money, then perhaps transition completely to the vegan lifestyle. The budgetary restraints are a reality. We have to respect them.
So let's say somebody doesn't eat eggs, obviously being a pure vegan or vegetarian or whatever it is. What are the top 5 supplements in the hierarchy you would recommend them?
See, definitely it's so there are the usual suspects, okay, like vitamin D and B12. Okay, and that's pretty much for most people. I'll go so far as to say even most non-vegetarians also don't get enough B12. So they're the usual suspects. Now, depending on the individual, we may see, and of course, omega-3 fatty acids as well. You're going to have to take some algae oil as a vegan. You can't rely on flax seeds because of the poor conversion. So yeah, these are the usual suspects. Now, depending on the person, depending on what their caloric intake is like, they may be able to fulfill their protein requirements from food. For example, someone as active as me, I have the luxury of consuming 3,000 calories a day. So I may not need to rely on protein powder, because even if I consume foods which bring along some carbohydrate and fat, get a little protein, it still adds up, and I'm like, okay, I'm meeting my 100 odd grams of protein which I need for my goals. But the reality is, if I were to start dieting, and if I were to chop that 3,000 calories to perhaps, let's say, 1,500 calories, then I don't have the luxury of consuming those carbohydrates and fats which come with those vegan protein sources. In that instance, I'll have to rely heavily on protein powder. Then there are other realities. Depending on how much I sweat, I may want to consider supplementing with zinc, calcium, magnesium, for women, perhaps iron, and zoonutrients. There's creatine and taurine and beta-alanine and carnitine. Now, non-vegetarians can perhaps get away with not supplementing with these, because if you consume, let's say, some meat, you'll notice, we notice this, okay, the data is pretty clear, that non-vegetarians have higher plasma levels of taurine, carnitine, and creatine. So at least for nutritional adequacy's sake, they're good. But vegetarians and vegans have nothing in the way of plasma, taurine, and carnitine. And these are also important. We can't just be limited to vitamins, minerals, macros. There are some other nutrients which we are identifying, which are important as well. So yeah, quickly things start adding up. If you're ready to take the plunge, accept that, okay, this is a vegan diet. These are the vegan foods I have access to. And there are genuine limitations here, which I can fulfill via supplementation. And I'm ready to supplement. I'm ready to shell out the cash. Great. But if you're not, you have to be careful.
Okay. So what's your love affair with H.C. Verma's books? So what's the love affair with H.C. Verma? And let's, why should somebody, especially if they're a beginner or even advanced or intermediate, why should they be reading H.C. Verma's physics books? Let's share that.
Okay, so I'll clear this right off the bat. I really like H.C. Verma for the way the man explains fundamental physics concepts. The first time I read it, I was like, man, what is this guy even talking about? Second time I read it, I'm like, man, Vivek, I don't know why you like this guy. I don't like him because I can't understand a word he's saying. And it was only after I kind of studied some easier texts, because H.C. Verma, for someone who does not have a natural aptitude for physics, and I'm not someone for who physics is just something which, there's some people who just get it, right? The first time they're exposed to Newton's laws, the first time they think about force or torque, they just get it. I wasn't that student. I was very good with my chemistry and biology. But for the life of me, I couldn't figure this physics thing out. So when I first approached H.C. Verma, I was like, man, I may need to, peel back a few layers, explore 8th standard, 9th standard, simple, concise textbooks first, and then work my way up to H.C. Verma. But then when I read H.C. Verma, I was like, man, this man has a grasp of physics which I have not seen. I'm telling you, I've been exposed to a lot of great physics teachers. Richard Feynman, great physics teacher. But H.C. Verma is special. And if someone is an engineering student who's tried to crack IIT, they'll tell you one thing, okay? They'll tell you there is H.C. Verma for physics, but we do not have anything like H.C. Verma for chemistry and for mathematics. So it's a great pair of books. There's a part 1 and part 2. Not very thick, about 400 pages each, but the amount of wealth which is there built into those 800 odd pages is immense. And it's not like I've mastered H.C. Verma. I'll be honest with you. I still keep revisiting that book. I still keep studying it. And every time I study it, there's one concept which becomes a little more clear for me. Now, why is it important for a student of, let's say, exercise or even nutrition? Why is it important for a student to study physics? It's because exercise is physics. Exercise is force. We've given names to different exercises, like we call something a squat, a bench press, just like we give names to foods. We're like, oh, that's whey protein, that's chicken breast. But today we know it's not the chicken breast, it's what's inside, what the chicken breast is made of, the individual amino acids which we care about. Okay, so our approach to nutrition is becoming a little more polished than what it was back in the day, which was, okay, brown rice, chicken breast, broccoli, to, okay.
Yeah, I think that point you just made is so poignant. It's not the actual chicken breast, or it's not actual meat. It's actually what makes that. It's essentially you're eating the chicken or beef is for CLA or the amino acids and all those things. And this, I think it's a fallacy where when people say vegetarians can't do X, Y, Z, I think it comes from a position of either just sarcasm or just literacy, and they just don't know. I mean, essentially, if you are getting all those amino acids and vitamins and minerals and all those things that the sub-nutrients you need, it's as good as any diet. And I think that's a very poignant point you make. Last question before we wrap this up. Let's say you're somebody who's just joining the industry, the 18, 20, whatever it is. I mean, let's say an 18-year-old come to you and he was paying you good money to give advice to him. What would be your 2-3 words of advice on how he should go between the age of 18 to 22, how he should go about this industry? What's your personal take on it?
identify your strengths, and put them out there. And
But like, where should a youngster? Because the thing is, it's very easy for somebody who like you or I, who've seen the world, who've had the chance to reflect and had the chance to think and look back and say what are strengths and weakness are. When you're 18, man, I mean, I didn't know how to wipe my nose. Let's just be honest. I didn't know I thought I was fucking king of the hill. I thought I owned the world. That's what I thought, when I was 18. And, I look back, I didn't have any good advice. I fucked up plenty of times. I was under 2.5, 3 crore debt as recently as 6 years ago. My credit rating was shocking. So if an 18-year-old is watching you, what's 2, 3 fundamental advice, things that you would want to say to him, especially pertaining to this industry, if he had to start?
I would say, see, man, so at 18 years of age, I can completely relate to how you felt at 18. It's very difficult. It's a rebellious age, but it's very important that if I'll share some practical advice, which I wish I followed. It would have really helped my learning process. It wouldn't have taken me as long to reach where I am today. And of course, I still have so much to learn. But identify true professionals in the industry you want to venture into. And it's not important to just be a professional. Okay. Someone can be excellent with their nutrition information, with their exercise information. But if they are struggling to pay their bills, you may want to be a little careful with exposing yourself to that gentleman, because the reality is the people we surround ourselves with, they have the potential to influence us. And if you get caught up thinking that the only thing I have to do is become an academic and making money, because this is what I used to believe when I was 18. I was like, I don't need to make money. Okay, I have money. People are so shallow. The people who want to make money are so shallow. I was just plain ignorant and naive. And this is a reality. A lot of well-meaning people who have an excellent grasp of nutrition and exercise, they aren't really doing anything with their excellent grasp of nutrition and exercise. You still have to put food on. Yeah, you still have to put food on your plate. You still have to look after your family. Okay, and very quickly, you're 18 today, but very quickly the years are going to add up and you're going to realize, oh, I've learned all this nutrition and exercise, but what am I going to do with it? So my advice would be, firstly, identify that you may have an ego at age 18. You need to put that ego to rest, because I was incredibly egotistical when I was 18. You massive ego. And if I had found, let's say, a mentor to look up to, like Harry Sandhu, for example, someone who does not just understand nutrition and exercise, but does not just limit themselves to understanding nutrition and exercise, but you build an empire using your knowledge of nutrition and exercise. That is the type of mentor or a senior or a professional you need to look up to, and then you need to get in touch with them. Okay, and there are a lot of pretenders. So there are a lot of people who will create the illusion that they have a lot in the way of nutrition and exercise information, or they'll pose with a fancy car and you'll be like, wow, he has a fancy car, when he's struggling to pay the EMI for that car. Instagram can create the illusion of success. Find someone who's truly successful and listen to that person. I wish I'd listened to my elders. My mom and dad, incredibly wise people. But at 18, I was like, they don't know any better. They want me to become an engineer. I don't need to become an engineer. I'll become a fitness professional. And here's another reality. My friends who are engineers today make more money than me today. I do really well in this industry. But an engineer who works at Google, you have no idea how much money that person makes.
So that's crazy. You're right. 100%. Yeah. Okay, last question. Aman Duggal is for capitalism, communism, or socialism, and why do you support whatever you support?
The only The only brand of politics I support is my politics. Simple. Okay.
Well,
If
let's do politics. I want to know that are you for capitalism, capitalistic society, or are you for socialist society, or you like the good old the communist society? You know, what are you? Are you for like free trade and you shouldn't be taking money from the rich and giving it to poor just for the sake of it? I mean, are you pro-capitalism? I am hardcore pro-capitalism. You know, I believe that, if I work hard, I work my ass off, and I shouldn't be forced to feed the bums. I mean, why should my hard-earned money be going towards somebody who's sitting on their ass and they have this sense of entitlement? Like we have all this plenty of losers here. Like, they're struggling they're sitting in the dirty undies and in a shitty environment, and they feel they have the entitlement and they have the right, just because they've got an Instagram access and they can type, they can say whatever they want. I don't want my hard-earned money that I am busting my ass making, honestly, paying the most amount of tax, ethically working, doing it honestly. Why should I be feeding these bums? So that's socialism. I am anti-socialism. So I want to know, where do you stand?
Oh, I am most certainly anti-socialism too. I am in this for myself. Now, whatever that environment is, which facilitates my growth and puts me in a position to make money, earn power, maybe wiggle the system a little bit, I don't care. Okay, it can be capitalism, it can be communism. I don't care. There are people, okay, who run the communist parties, who are incredibly powerful, incredibly wealthy, who are able to dodge their way through that system. I'm in this for myself. That's it. Not for anyone else. Not for the people who are watching, who are typing these comments.
Well, that makes you almost like more towards capitalism.
Yes.
Definitely more towards capitalism, and I'm perfectly okay with that. And I was just curious to know what it is. I mean, look. That was pretty incredible. I think you're very insightful young man. I think, although very misunderstood often by a lot of people, and they only see the exterior of what you put it out there. I think a lot of it that you put out there is what you want people to believe, and I think that's a facade that you put out for everybody to think what it is, and they don't. Most people unfortunately can't see beyond that external layer that they put, and they barely sort of know real Aman Duggal, who Aman Duggal is. And maybe we will have to do another interview just to get to know the man a bit better. Today was a bit more full of spice, and I think we've popped a lot of hate from people who are really worth nothing, and and I don't apologize for that. It's like a tall poppy syndrome. People sitting there in the dirty undies, as I always say, and calling out people when you aren't really successful yourself and you aren't really doing anything for the greater good of the community, and especially coming from fake accounts. And I just find that that the power of sitting behind a screen, they feel it gives them the authority and the right to just say whatever they want. So, but any last parting message you want to share with the world, or friends, or not your friends, or anything you want to say, or any words of wisdom, or any you want to be ruthless, go for it, man. I mean, stage is yours.
No, sir. I'm incredibly grateful for the time that you've taken out of your busy schedule to do this. And I am still young, so I am a student of nutrition and exercise. I have very little in the way of advice, or at least life advice to offer. I'm going to look at a lot of stuff which I'm doing today, 3 years down the line, I'll be like, cringe, cringe, cringe. What was I thinking? So
that's okay, that's like, I have those moments every day. I look back and what was I doing even yesterday? That's pretty normal. But anyway, look, thank you for your time. It was an absolute pleasure. There was a lot to take in, and I'm sure this is going to sort of spread like wildfire, and it'll be circulating everywhere. And and all I say, if people need to follow this guy, and my word, if you're looking for a nutrition coach or strength coach, I know you've helped a couple of powerlifters as well. You're very good with injuries, and especially if you're that's your area of expertise, nutrition and the injuries and training programs. So whoever's watching, and if they want a good coach, who's no nonsense, who's not going to babysit you, then reach out to this man, to Aman Duggal, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. He might not be the cheapest, but he certainly has my stick of approval, no question about it.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm incredibly humbled. Thank you.
No, I say it as it is, man. I mean, what I see, the feedback that I get from people who have taken coaching from you, people who know you, people who follow you. So, I'm not going to piss in your pocket, like it's like people getting upset about that. Why did I post Siddhant Jaiswal's, the screenshot? And it's pretty simple. Let me just speak this in Hindi, for 2 minutes. I might as well address this. I like addressing things head on, just like you. बात बड़ी सिंपल है. देखिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है अपने इंस्टाग्राम पे जो अपने करना करो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. अपनी लाइफ में अपने जो करना करो. प्रॉब्लम कहाँ क्रिएट होती है? जब आप किसी चीज को एंडोर्स कर रहे हो और पोटेंशियली उससे पैसे कमा रहे हो. नंबर 1 ये. दूसरी चीज कि जब आप कोई चीज एंडोर्स कर रहे हो, मुझे तो ये भी नहीं पता था वो किसको एंडोर्स करते. जब आपके लोगों ने कमेंट किया, मुझे पता चला कि वो किसी इंस्टीट्यूट की किताब में से व्हाटएवर इट इज. अब सिंपल बात ये है कि जो बच्चे आज की डेट में कोर्सेज कर रहे हैं, राइट, वो मतलब कि मेजॉरिटी 80% लोग बेचारे लोअर सोशियो इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड से हैं, राइट. वो एक एक पैसा जोड़ के कोर्स करना आते हैं. उनके लिए 20-25 हजार भी स्पेंड करना मतलब कि 1 साल की सेविंग है उनके लिए. तो मुझे गुस्सा इस बात का आता है कि जब आप किसी से पैसे ले रहे हो, अगर आप उनको गलत इंफॉर्मेशन दे रहे हो, उनको गलत तरीके की तरफ लेके जा रहे हो, वो अनएक्सेप्टेबल है. मैंने इससे पहले भी बहुत लोगों को मैंने कॉल आउट किया. मैं उन लोगों को कॉल आउट करता हूं कि जो किसी से वो इंफॉर्मेशन स्प्रेड करके पैसा बना रहे हैं. आपने भैया फैशन की एडवाइस देनी है, आपने गाड़ी की एडवाइस देनी है, आपने मौसम के बारे में बोलना है, आपने अपनी स्पोर्ट के बारे में बोलना है कि मैंने ये कॉम्पिटिशन लड़ा, मैं ये करता हूं, मेरी ये डाइट है, मेरे को फॉलो मत करो, लेकिन ये मेरी है, वो बात अलग है. लेकिन जब आप शरेआम डाल रहे हो अपनी पोस्ट पे, अपनी स्टोरीज पे, आपके 3 लाख के फॉलोअर्स हैं, देन एज दे से इन इंग्लिश, यू आर फेयर गेम. आप मतलब कि फिर वो आपकी जो इम्यूनिटी है ना, वो इम्यूनिटी आपकी खत्म हो जाती है. आप जब उसी चीज से पैसा बना रहे हो और गलत इंफॉर्मेशन कर रहे हो, और बच्चे जो पैसा, अब जैसे मतलब कि जैसे कीटो वाले फ्रूट को गालियां देते रहते हैं, वो कार्ब्स को दे रहे हैं, वो गलत चीज है. आप उससे पैसा बना रहे हो. वो मैं ये नहीं कहता हूं कि आप जानबूझ के अनएथिकल या इमोरली गलत इंफॉर्मेशन फैला रहे हो, लेकिन जस्ट बिकॉज आप अनइंटेंशनली या एथिकली या मॉरली आप करें, गलत इंफॉर्मेशन गलत ही रहेगी, चाहे आपकी इंटेंशन जितने मर्जी प्योर है, राइट. सो जो लोग गुस्सा करने के, मेरा एक पर्सनल अटैक है सिद्धांत के ऊपर, मेरा उससे कोई पर्सनल अटैक नहीं है. इससे पहले मैंने कितनी बार उसके अगेंस्ट, उसकी भी बैकग्राउंड स्टोरी बता देता हूं. मिस्टर ओलंपिया हुआ, ठीक है, बहुत सारे लोग लाइव कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, मतलब कि आप जो एक मिस्टर ओलंपिया पे पैसा लगा रहा है बंदा, ठीक है, आप लाइव करो. मैंने एक पोस्ट डाली जेनेरिक कि भैया सब लोगों को लाइव नहीं करना चाहिए, उनकी जेब में से पैसा कटता है. इसमें एक तरफ से आप स्पोर्ट को, अपनी बॉडी बिल्डिंग स्पोर्ट को सपोर्ट करना चाहते हो, दूसरी तरफ से आप उसको सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहे हो, आप उनका पैसा रोक रहे हो. इमेजिन कल को सिद्धांत शो करा रहा है और वो टिकट के पैसे ले रहा है और लोग अंदर से सीक्रेटली फेसबुक पे लाइव कर रहे हैं, तो उसका तो नुकसान हुआ ना बेचारे का, ठीक है ना. तो पॉइंट इज दिस. तो इसने क्या किया जी, इसने मुझे ब्लॉक कर दिया, ठीक है, ब्लॉक कर दिया. मैंने इस बंदे को व्हाट्सएप मैसेज किया, मेरे पास रिकॉर्डिंग पड़ी हुई, ठीक है, मैंने इस बंदे को मैसेज किया व्हाट्सएप पे कि भैया, इसने मैसेज देखा, इसने वापस दो मैंने मैसेज को फोन कॉल, इसने रिप्लाई नहीं किया, ना मैसेज किया. ये वो आदमी है जिसको मैंने डेली अपने शो पे बुला के, इसको मैंने खुद इसको ऑनर किया, इसको सम्मानित किया, इसको मेमेंटो दिया, इसको मैंने स्टेज पे भाई की तरह मैंने इसको कहा हमारे पास वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग है. प्रॉब्लम आपके दिल में है तो उसका गुस्सा हमारे ऊपर मत निकालिए. आप जब मैं जब किसी को मैंने पर्सनली बोलना होता ना, तो मैं उनका नाम लेके बोलता हूं. दैट इज माई स्टाइल. आई एम नॉट वन ऑफ दोज पीपल के जी मैं वो गुरिल्ला वॉरफेयर नहीं खेलता हूं. मैंने आपके बारे में बात करनी तो मैं आपका नाम लेके करूंगा. अगर मैंने सिद्धांत का नाम लेके करना होता ना कि भैया तुम ये बंद करो, तो या तो आप अकेले होते कि आप अकेले लाइव स्ट्रीम कर रहे हो. जब हजारों लोग लाइव स्ट्रीम कर रहे हो, आप पर्सनली क्यों ले हो इस चीज को? मतलब कि आप गिल्टी हो, आपकी आपकी दाढ़ी में, चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका वाली बात होगी ना, तो आप अपने ऊपर लेके, आपको प्रॉब्लम है, बात करो फेस टू फेस यार, मर्द बनो, राइट? मैंने आपको फोन किए 2 बार, मैंने आपको व्हाट्सएप मैसेजेस किए, तो आपको अगर प्रॉब्लम थी तो बात करो ना मेरे से कि सर या हैरी भाई ये गलत, सही सही नहीं था, आपको ये नहीं करना चाहिए था। आपने 6 महीने पहले मैंने आपको अपने शो पे बुला के डेली आपको वीवीआईपी बना के, इस बंदे के मैं सार हर जगह पे एग्जांपल देता रहा हूं उससे पहले कि भाई सिद्धांत वेरी पॉजिटिव गाय, ग्रेट गाय, ठीक है, पर आप मुझे एटीट्यूड दिखाओगे और बाद में गलत पोस्ट डाल रहे हो। मैं उस चीज की खुंदक नहीं निकाल रहा हूं, मुझे सुधीर यादव ने स्क्रीनशॉट भेजा, मैंने शेयर कर दिया, ठीक है। तो द पॉइंट इज दिस, के लोग गुस्सा कर रहे हैं कि मेरा सिद्धांत से कोई पर्सनल एथलीट से मैं जेलस हूं। यार मैं एथलीट से क्यों जेलस होंगे? इससे पहले मैंने कितने एथलीट्स के बारे में मैंने बुरा भला कहा है, मुझे पहले ये बताओ ना। आप गलत इंफॉर्मेशन खुद डाल रहे हो, पैसा कोई गलत इंफॉर्मेशन वाला रहा है, ये तो मतलब वो कहते ना कि सारा डिग्गा खोती तो गुस्सा कम आते, एज दे से इन पंजाबी। साले यू गिरे आप गधे से हो और गुस्सा कर रहे हो साले उसके रखवाले पे, हद है यार, यू नो। इट डजंट वर्क लाइक दैट, यू नो। सो लोग यहाँ बैठ के जितनी मर्जी भड़ास निकालते रहो, मुझे मेरे सारे बाल का फर्क नहीं पड़ता। मुझे डू यू थिंक आई रियली गिव अ शिट कि यहाँ पे मतलब कि 2 टके के लोग बैठ के गालियां दे रहे फेक अकाउंट से? आई डोंट गिव अ शिट। डू यू रियली थिंक? नहीं, इनको पता होना चाहिए कि आज की डेट में मेरा करोड़ों का मंथली टर्नओवर है, मंथली करोड़ों का, मंथली, नॉट ईयरली, नॉट 5 ईयरली। इनको लगता है कि मैं यहाँ पे ऐसे पहुंच के लोगों का बेवकूफ बना के डिसऑन। आपके पास कितने लोग आते हैं जो पूछते हैं हैरी संधू का मुझे पोस्ट करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए, या हैरी संधू कौन है, राइट? तो इन लोगों को लगता है कि मैंने मतलब कि किसी के इसका भी पैसा मार लिया, उसका भी पैसा मार लिया, उसका भी चूते काट दिया। सर ये मैं आपको बात बताता हूं, जिस डे एंड एज में हम रह रहे हैं ना अमन, आपको पता है, आप ज्यादा गलत काम करके ना 1 घंटा नहीं रह सकते। और बाकी रही सिद्धांत की बात, तो इतने मैसेजेस मुझे इसके आ चुके हैं कि भैया मेरे को ये ड्रग दे दिया, उसको इतने ग्रोथ हार्मोन आयु दे दिया, उस लड़की को ये वो। तो मुझे कोई पर्सनल नहीं है। जब मैंने आपको इतना सम्मानित किया, आपको प्यार से बुलाया, एंड देन उसके बाद आप मुझे एटीट्यूड दिखा रहे हो, जब मैंने आपको भाई की तरह ट्रीट किया। ही उसको उसको मेरे साथ लाइव डिबेट करना ना, कभी भी कर ले, एनी टाइम एनीवेयर, इन पर्सन, ऑन इंस्टाग्राम, कभी भी, ओपन चैलेंज, राइट? सो द पॉइंट इज दिस, यू नो, डोंट फकिंग कम टू मी एंड थिंक कि यू कैन प्ले दिस गुरिल्ला वॉरफेयर। गलत काम आप करो और तुम दिखाना चाहते हो कि दुनिया को हैरी सिंधु पर। बेटा ये मैं ऐसे साले बाद 45 साल की मेरी उम्र ऐसे नहीं हो गई, मैं कल नहीं इंडस्ट्री में एंटर हुआ। और जो जिनको लगता है ना कि मैं आके यहाँ, हमने बॉस क्लासिक किया था ना अमन, हमें हर बंदे का, पावरफुल बंदे का थ्रेट आया था कि भैया तुम बहुत। मैं कहा बेटा तुमको तो मेरी भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर के ऑफिस तक रीच है। आपको लगता है मेरा लाइफ स्टाइल कि मैं आई कम फ्रॉम एन एवरेज फैमिली? यू नो, आई नेवर टॉक, बट आई कम फ्रॉम अ फैमिली ऑफ पॉलिटिशियंस एंड फकिंग इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट्स एंड मिलियनेयर्स। करोड़ों का काम है हमारा। लोगों को लगता है कि मैं यहाँ ऐसे बैठा हूं, चूतियों हूं मैं, यू नो। सो दिस, ये जो मतलब कि ये जो बकवास है ना कि भैया तुम बैठे, तुम फेक अकाउंट पे ट्रोलिंग कर रहे हो, गंदी चड्डी में बैठे हो तुम, और तुम्हारी कोई औकात नहीं, कहीं तुमने पहुंचना नहीं है। तुम मेरे बाप का, अपने आप को देखो, मुझे देखो, ठीक है? ये किसी भी सक्सेसफुल आदमी को देखो। सो द पॉइंट इज दिस, ऑल दीज पीपल ट्रोलिंग, दे हैव नो बिजनेस, यू नो। सो मुझे बताओ कि मैंने क्या गलत किया? गलत इंफॉर्मेशन कोई शेयर कर रहा है, पैसा कोई कमा रहा है उस गलत इंफॉर्मेशन। सो व्हाई वुडंट आई कॉल यू आउट? I mean, you have no immunity. Immunity is only when you say, this is what I do and I don't propose this, I don't promote this, please do not follow what I'm doing. ये मैं करता हूँ। या मेरी बला से आप कोयला खाओ, मेरी बला से आप कॉलगेट के टूथपेस्ट को बोलो कि मेरे लिए तो इसकी प्रोटीन ही बहुत है, nobody gives a shit. But when you say कि this is for applicable to the greater public, then gloves are off, then you're fair game. आप ये नहीं कह सकते। So anyway, I thought, you know, I might as well put it out. जितने मतलब इतना प्यार दे रहे थे बच्चे, so मैं कहा 2 चीजें मैं भी ऐड कर दूं ना, तो पता है कि रह ना जाए कि हैरी संधू ने कहा नहीं कुछ। So anyway, that is that.
That was awesome.
Man, just let me tell you, you know, मैं इंटरव्यू करता हूँ तो मैं चुप करके बैठता हूँ, you know, when I am interviewing I sit because it's your show, man. I am just a facilitator. I'm just a facilitator. I'm just here to listen to you. But man, I am not shy. I'm never short on words. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. You know, when push comes to shove, I'll fucking say it. So, and that is that. So,
and that's the reason why people appreciate your work. And so many people have come to me, skeptics of your work have come to me. They're like, why don't you debate Harry Sandhu? These are the claims which Harry Sandhu makes. I'm like, man, I don't want to debate him. You guys debate him. They're like, okay, we're going to sign up for his course. And they sign up for your course, and then they come back to me and they're like, Harry Sandhu just blew my mind. I'm like, now you know why. So
we get people. Look, I'll tell you very honestly, we get so many K11 students. We get so many students from INFS. We get so many students from ACE, ACSM, you name it. Okay, we have had faculty of ACE. We have had faculty of K11 with us, right? And this is, you know, if my phone ever gets out, there's billion people's information in here, right? So, you know, you don't openly say whatever I say. I mean, I don't have any skeletons in the closet. I am not, like, when I say to people, yeah, you're young guy, you shouldn't be doing drugs, that is the same fucking information I put out here in private messages to people. It's not like a Harry Sandhu like politician, the social media pe kuch or message me kuch. I don't operate like that. When you are as ballsy as you and I, you don't have dual standards. You're not watching your back. I don't have to fear that somebody from one of my employees out of 150 or somebody from my team is going to go and say, Gee, Harry Sandhu hasn't paid my salary. Harry Sandhu fucked me over. Not 0.1% person. You can message anybody of my team out of 150 employees. You tell me how many fucking companies in India have 150 employees. You think the people think that I fell here? They're fucking kidding themselves, man. Let's not even go there. So, you know, so anyway, so good talking to you. That went a little awry. That wasn't part of the plan, but you know, Ganga mein haath dho do.
Trust me, this was the best part. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh man, me too. You know, I thought, look at the sweat pouring on me, man. My ears turning red. You know, so but I am just very passionate, man. I mean, what's here is here. And when I call these people ke gandi chaddiyon mein baithe, that's a reality.
It is.
You know, if they see the thing is, वो क्यों है, वो वहां क्यों बैठे हैं? Because वो इतने busy हैं कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ अपनी लाइफ में, आप क्या कर रहे हो? तुम अपनी लाइफ पे फोकस करो ना यार. तुम जिसको look at the amount of parasocial love affair that is happening in the world. You know, अगर किसी को parasocial की definition नहीं पता है, Google जाओ और करो. मैं बताता हूँ करने पे. Parasocial होता है वो कि जिनको नहीं पता कि भैया आप प्यार कर रहे हो, एजुलेशन कर रहे हो लोगों को, उनको अडोर कर रहे हो अपने फैमिली, वो आपके नाम तक को नहीं जानता. किस लिए तलबे चाट रहे होंगे मुझे ये बताओ. You know, I mean, it's beyond me. I mean, this idealism. हमारे देश में 400-500 करोड़ भगवान है. अभी भी आपको इंसानों की जरूरत है वर्शिप करने के लिए. कब निकलोगे इन चीजों से? When are you actually going to let people fight their own fucking battles? सिद्धांत जैसवाल ने आके यहाँ पे अपनी लड़ाई लड़ी है. आप जाके उसकी लड़ाई लड़ रहे हो किस लिए? You know, who the fuck are you? आप जिसको चुभती है वो आके अपना लड़ ले. I messaged him twice. I called him twice to extend that courtesy. कि यार कोई confusion है. I don't want to spoil the relationship, but if you want to spoil it, that's fine. Fucking no skin of my teeth, man. I don't give a shit. You know, but you know, don't. क्या कर रहे हैं लोग अपनी लाइफ के साथ में? तो साला ये नहीं. अभी तुम यहाँ पे हो, 35 साल में तुम्हारे 2 बच्चे होंगे और तुम्हारी चड्डी खींच रहे होंगे, फिर क्या करोगे? फिर बैठ के डमरू बजाना कि सोशल मीडिया पे मैंने वाह की थी, सर मेरी फर्स्ट कमेंट फर्स्ट लाइक कर दो, मेरी पहली लाइक कर दो, सर फर्स्ट कमेंट प्लीज लाइक. What the fuck is wrong with you people, man? Get the fuck out of here and do something with your life, man. Or first like, sir first comment, sir greatest fan, झंडा लेके आऊंगा मैं वहां पे एयरपोर्ट पे. तुम्हारा भाई आ रहा है, तुम्हारा बाप आ रहा है, तुम्हारी माँ आ रही, तुम झंडा लेके जाओगे किस लिए? Why? Why don't you fucking focus the same time and energy on yourself? मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, देखो, at the peak of it we had 400 viewers, right? मेरे कितने followers हैं? आपके 1800, मेरे 35,000. And we still get more followers than people viewing in who have like 500,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? So if people think that followers and likes is what dictates the money, मुझे बताओ, आपके अगर 100 million follower है ना, ऐसे करो, वहां किराने की दुकान से ना 1 लीटर दूध लेकर खाओ फ्री में, मैं मान जाऊंगा कि भैया मेरे 100 मिलियन फॉलोअर है, प्लीज मुझे फ्री में दूध दे लो। वो बोलेगा भाई साहब बहुत अच्छी बात है, अब मैं मानता हूं, लेकिन सर मैंने भी अपने बच्चों का पेट पालना, मैं फ्री में नहीं दे सकता हूँ। So, you know, fucking the entire youth is fucked.
I'd like to quickly intervene here, Sam. You know, I work with a lot of YouTubers, a lot of influencers. The reality is, a lot of people with millions of followers, they struggle to put food on their tables. They have
That's
genuine,
facts.
yeah. So just because you have a million followers, what are you going to do with those million followers? Because those million followers cannot afford to pay you, because who are they? They're kids just like you. So yeah, you can keep typing away and you can keep hating. Go follow them and become like them, and you guys can.
And look at the comments. You put up a post, guys, sir, you are the best. Sir, love heart, I loved you. Madam, I loved you. Madam, please. Those are your, is that the kind of followers you want? They won't spend a cent on your product. Like, मुझे नहीं चाहिए ऐसे फॉलोअर, तुम सारे ले लो यार, मेरी तरफ से तुम 100 मिलियन लो, मुझे मेरे बाप का क्या फर्क पड़ता है? All those followers like love heart, you go to anybody's page, it's like so great body, so great body. I mean, you want to stroke your ego? If you need that much external validation, you really have a problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, so chalo, that is that. I think that's gone way over time. Thank you for your time. I think we should do a live on this topic or another topic another time, you know.
Sure, sir, most certainly. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much, and have a great night, and see you on the flip side. When I'm in Pune next time, we'll catch up. All right.
We definitely
will.
When
you're in the north, Chandigarh, whenever you have to come and catch up. ठीक है जी.
Most certainly.
Good night, and thank you for your time. Okay.
Good night, and thank you, sir.